Today, I'm going to talk about the surrogate operator of the surrogate center who is one of the most controversial figures in India, Dr. Patel. Many people said that the surrogate industry is the business of buying and selling babies rented out to us. It's a dirty, anti-moral, and belief business to profit from squeezing poor women. Although she was criticized by the outside criticism, Patel did not think surrogacy is moral. She believes that surrogate mothers get paid through their own labor. Nowadays, surrogacy is in huge needs. Thus, laws are required to regulate it. Today, we have raised 3 questions on how to regulate surrogacy.
Actually, the practice of surrogacy is associated with many risks and may have a huge influence on a surrogate mother. In the cases, surrogates have very strict schedules. They should eat carefully and are not allowed to have too much contact with other people outside. Initially, they receive only a small amount of salaries. The biggest part will be paid only after the baby is born safely and the baby is checked to be healthy. In addition, surrogates also often run the risk of multiple pregnancies due to ovulation needles, and sometimes surrogates are even required to abort when the embryo examination is female. And there may be cases when a surrogate mother does not want to give this newly born baby to his biological parents despite the signed contract. What's more, being parted with a child could turn into a serious psychological trauma. So, how the law can be reformed to fit for the purpose for surrogates in the 21st century? Firstly, reduce the risk to have a psychological trauma at the maximum of the surrogate mother. A woman who wants to be selected as a surrogate mother is supposed to undergo a full medical examination, including a talk with a psychology specialist who determines her readiness in the procedure. Secondly, sometimes the surrogate mother may not be willing to give the newly born baby to his intended parents. Thus, the two sides should issue a contract specifying all terms and conditions of the agreement before initiating a program of surrogacy. The document should be notarized by a qualified lawyer, therefore it could be used as a kind of legal protection of the rights of the two parties. Thirdly, surrogates should be paid with a reasonable wage and costs involved with the baby should be paid by recipients as well. Different countries may have different laws towards the surrogacy. While giving a chance for those intended parents, the law should also decide to protect the rights of surrogates.
In most cases, people tend to worry about genetic link of surrogacy. According to what we have mentioned before, there are 2 different ways of surrogacy: traditional surrogacy and gestational surrogacy. In traditional surrogacy, the surrogate's egg is used and the sperm of the commissioning father or a donor is used for fertilization. Insemination of the surrogates can either occur through natural or artificial insemination. Using the sperm of a donor results in a child that is not genetically related to the intended parents. If the intended father's sperm is used in insemination, the resulting child is genetically related to both the intended father and the surrogate. Traditional surrogacy laws is complicated. Because the surrogate is the biological mother of the baby in traditional surrogacy, she has parents' rights that will need to be legally terminated after the baby is born. In some jurisdictions, the commissioning parents using donor sperm need to go through an adoption process in order to have legal parental rights of the resulting child. But these additional legal procedures are not required in the gestational surrogacy process. Gestational surrogacy, also known as host or full surrogacy, it has several forms. First, the embryo is created using the intended father's sperm and intended mother's eggs. Second, The embryo is created using the intended father's sperm and a donor egg. Third, the embryo is created using the intended mother's egg and donor sperm. Fourth, a donor embryo is transferred to a surrogate. Such an embryo may be available when others undergoing IVF have embryos left over, which they donate to others. The resulting child is genetically unrelated to the intended parents. In each form, the resulting child is genetically unrelated to the surrogate. Thus, gestational surrogacy is more acceptable in many countries, like the example we have presented in India. But there are still other worries about gestational surrogacy, because the environment also has a huge impact on the genetic appearance, leading to some epigenetic changes. So it still could not be thought that the surrogate is completely with no genetically relationship with the baby. However, gestational surrogacy is still the most acceptable way currently in the world.
As for custody of children from surrogacy method, its causing problems are equally concerned by many people around the world. Main aspects include identification, parenthood, abandonment and abuse, and child trafficking. But in lots of countries like UK, even if you sign a surrogacy agreement, it cannot be enforced by the law. In our opinion, it is necessary to make a clear contract between both sides, even three sides, dealing with the possible measures during fertilization, pregnancy, birth giving, parenthood transferring, child raising and visiting, and so on. The contract must give the top priority to the best interest of the child and, of course, be under legal effect. Only in this way can the child under well-rounded protection.